Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, February 2nd, 2024. The Pro Bowl games are officially underway. I hate that I have to call it the Pro Bowl games, but I will. Every NFL head coaching spot has officially been filled. The MLB season is right on the horizon. We're about 20 days from spring training games as soon as you're hearing this episode. And then the January transfer window is kind of coming to a close across all of the different countries in Europe right now. I think Germany closes in about 15 minutes as of when we're recording. I think England closes in about an hour and 15 minutes. I think Italy and Spain might already be closed. So we still have deals kind of rolling in. But for the moment, it seems like everything is closing. Uh, Luke, how are we feeling going into this weekend? Obviously, next week, Super Bowl week, big deal. How are we feeling going into the Pro Bowl weekend?
I'm feeling pretty good. Honestly, my eyes are more set on the Super Bowl and baseball returning. Not really a lot to talk about in January as far as like the transfer window goes, which is kind of unique. I feel like we have at least like one or two massive moves in January, but like that just has not happened this time. It's been
Yeah.
pretty quiet for the most part, but yeah, really excited for baseball. I can't wait till I can, open the windows to my apartment and put on the Yankees game with with our MLB. Well, I guess yours that I pilot um off of or mooch off of. But I just can't wait for baseball, man.
Yeah,
Cannot wait for
I'm
baseball.
definitely excited for the baseball season to get started. Um, to your point about the transfer window not being, as exciting this time around, I think financial fair play is definitely a big part of that. Um, typically we see, an English team bring in a huge player in this January transfer window that surprises everybody. Nobody's really done that. And I think with, this pending issue with Man City and already seeing that Everton has gotten reprimanded now twice, they're going to, I believe, face another deduction soon. I think Nottingham
Mhm.
Forest is going to be facing a deduction. I think people are almost scared to be making moves right now.
Yeah, and it honestly seems like it in England hasn't really affected the big teams yet. Like, sure, we've had allegations, pretty serious allegations at that, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that it's been Everton more times than it's been Manchester City with all the Manchester City stuff we've heard. Um, I don't know. That definitely kind of makes me think that something deeper might be going on. I'm
Yeah.
not like going to get too much into like conspiracies or anything, but big soccer teams more so than any other franchises in the entire world when it comes to sports are very fishy when it comes to money. I guess it's just more so in the culture, and I can totally see it to kind of where the big teams are more able to find, loopholes more so than like a Nottingham Forest or an Everton would. So that's kind of like where I don't like it, and also I don't like the fact that we haven't seen any like kind of bigger moves in the
Yeah.
Premier League. But I get it. I don't know. That's just kind of like where my thoughts are on it.
I definitely agree with that. But other things happening, want to get your thoughts. Mike McDonald to the Seahawks and Dan Quinn to the Commanders. You now have Belichick and Vrabel with no head coaching job.
Yeah, I know.
It's big.
And the Steelers looking at Arthur Smith
They're not just looking.
heavily.
I believe he's there.
I know. It's more than there. It's he was about to go interview for Tampa because nothing was happening in Pittsburgh. So some guy named Mike Tomlin went and personally stopped him from leaving.
Good.
Um, so yeah, it's a little bit more than interested is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you feel about
Damn
that?
it, man. Well,
He's a good
I
OC.
I know
He's a good
that's what I
OC.
was about to say. He has had more luck as an offensive coordinator, so I'll give him his bread there. But I was really looking forward to Cliff. I heard a lot of rumors about Cliff Kingsbury, I think is his name from
Yeah.
USC. And that's definitely a guy that I could see taking the Steelers to a more modern offense. I don't know about Arthur Smith. So as far as like Steelers and offensive coordinators, I feel like we have a better offensive coordinator than we've had in a while with Arthur Smith, but it's still it's not enough. It's not as drastic as I wanted, or is what I think it needs to be.
Yeah, I think with Arthur Smith, and let's be honest, his style does kind of suit the Steelers' offense and what they have. You don't have the best quarterback play, but you have, a very good running back or a guy that has the potential to be a very good running back in Najee Harris, and then you have Jalen Warren as a second option. I just think that his play style and his play calling will suit that team much better than it did at least with the Falcons, for sure, but even just as well as it worked for the Titans.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't instill the Kyle Pitts game plan on Pat Fryermuth.
I doubt it. So with Belichick and Vrabel not having a job, like it's wild. And Belichick, I've heard talk about him going to Fox at least for the year, just to wait out, his next job in head coaching. It's very weird though for Vrabel. This guy's a top of the line kind of guy, head coach, and of course the Titans are the first team to give him a chance as a head coach, and the only team thus far. But I don't know what was wrong. I think when it came down to it, he became available, and I think a lot of teams, especially this time around, weren't looking for like the immediate success. A lot of teams that didn't have a head coach kind of already had a thought in mind that they need to do something for the future, and going after a coordinator is for the future. Mike McDonald is a pretty young DC who's going to take that job. Dan Quinn, of course, not young, but he's already got head coaching experience and he's done great things with the Cowboys defense. And the Commanders are obviously very familiar with Dan Quinn, considering they play him 2 times a year when he was in Dallas. So I think that one, like both of those moves, make sense to me. And they're both guys that, at least Mike McDonald kind of just jumped onto the scene as a head coaching candidate and he got his time. And Dan Quinn has certainly been talked about since he went to Dallas and kind of revitalized that defense. But then, like, you have the news that Ben Johnson isn't going to leave the Lions. He stays, and then it's like a day later, Dan Quinn to the Commanders. It surprises me that Vrabel wasn't more talked about in that conversation, and really surprising that he doesn't have a job. I have a feeling he's another guy that's going to just wait for the next time around. Next year, there's going to be head coaching jobs available. There always is, and Vrabel will probably scoop one of those up. But I've heard people trying to say that he's going to try and go to a college team. This is not the time for a college or for an NFL coach to go to the college level. With the state of college football at the moment and with the transfer portal and NIL, it is like no other time in the sport. And for an NFL head coach to have to make that move and get into this horrible cycle that we're in college football, not to say it's a horrible thing, but it's a vicious cycle for head coaches to go through this every year. It just doesn't make sense for a guy who doesn't have college coaching experience to go into that realm right now and just kind of see what he could do. It makes a lot more sense for him to just kind of, hang out on the side, maybe just take the year off and then get right back at it next year.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with everything that you said. I have two questions. Well, one comment, one question. My
Okay.
first comment is I love Mike Vrabel, and I'm very
Yes.
sad that nobody hired him. I really I don't even think the Falcons showed interest.
I think he
I
got
never
interviewed.
heard the
And that
Falcons
was it.
like, okay, well, at least they gave him an interview. My second question though is, if not now, when is a time for an NFL coach to maybe take a college football job, in your opinion?
It kind of seems like that's just coming to an end because it used to be that the guy, an NFL guy would go back down to college. And now we're seeing that a lot of NFL guys don't even do the college stuff. A lot of
Yeah,
them just kind of go, they play in the NFL, they become, some kind of assistant, and then they get a head coaching job. That's what Vrabel did. That's what, numerous other guys have done. There is, of course, guys that spend time in college and come up, but we haven't seen that yet during the transfer portal era or the NIL era, whatever you want to call it. We haven't seen that happen. Harbaugh went down to Michigan before the transfer portal and NIL started, at least to the point it's at. And obviously he was successful and he adapted. But to be an NFL head coach right now, to drop down, you have so much more to deal with than, let's say Nick Saban when he returned to college football after being with the Dolphins and then he goes to LSU. I think with that one, it's like, okay, the only responsibility he has to go to is now recruiting, which he had already done in the past with Michigan State, and I think Kent State as well. Of course, he spent time there, but he, like the guys that have no college experience, it's way too difficult, and it might just be how it is for a long time. If you don't have college coaching experience, it's going to be really hard to get into this new culture of college football.
Yeah. That's a fair point. I like that. Because I don't think it's very feasible for Vrabel to move to be like a college coordinator.
No,
Of
definitely
course,
not.
that'd be less of a curve than if he was a college head coach. But that's like the only way that I could think of an end to learn college football like that. But that's one that's just unfeasible. Two, that's definitely not what Mike Vrabel wants to do, and I don't
Yeah.
blame him. But it just bottom line, that's somebody that needs a job. Bill Belichick could retire tomorrow, and it would
Yes.
affect me zero. I would like to see Bill Belichick come back. I just don't think there he would have to go to a team that's already good for the same issue that the Falcons had with him, and that's that he's too old, and the Falcons need somebody to build up with, not somebody. The Falcons aren't necessarily ready to win right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It would
Um,
take a few pieces.
yeah, so like I could see Belichick you know, kind of like how Brady went to Tampa and then they kind of built that super team. That's the kind of team that I could see Bill Belichick going to, but there's not a
Yeah.
super team that, wants to get rid of their head coach right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we have no clue what teams are going to do next season and, what coaching jobs will be available. Um, I'm sure like the Colts job might be available. They like to go, 1 year in.
Yeah.
Panthers maybe again. There's really no telling. But let's go ahead and kind of get into the main stuff of the podcast. We'll start the Pro Bowl, and then we've got our top 5 DHs list, Premier League weekend, transfer news. Then we'll round it out with questions time. Luke, let's go ahead and talk about the Pro Bowl. Obviously, the second year of this new Pro Bowl with the Pro Bowl games is what I guess we should actually be calling it. Um, it's in Orlando, Florida this year, and it starts tonight as we're recording. You'll already have known what happens in the Thursday Skills Showdown, as it's called. These games are going to include precision passing, which you might remember from last year. It was just all the quarterbacks from each conference. So the 3 quarterbacks compete in some target precision passing competition. It sucks. Uh, I think last year Derek Carr won it, maybe, or Tyler
Yeah, I've
Huntley.
always liked that one.
I
I've
don't know.
liked that
Like
one.
I I can't get behind the games, but we'll talk about that in a minute. You also have the best catch, which is a pre-taped thing, um, which I hated about last year, and I'm gonna hate about this year. Um, it's pretty dumb. And then you have closest to the pin, which is, golf, like actually just golf. Um, and then you have high stakes, which is actually a good one. All the players that are part of it, you start off with one football in your hand, and each player has to attempt to catch a punt from a jugs machine, and continue stacking up footballs, which is pretty fun. And then we'll have dodgeball. It's dodgeball. I don't need to explain that one. And then snapshots is a new one that's going to allow long snappers and centers to snap balls at targets of varying point values. So that one will be interesting to watch.
Hmm,
And
okay.
then you have Sunday's festivities. You have a few more games Sunday. You have a Madden head to head, which is pre recorded. You have the Gridiron Gauntlet. That is a full field relay race between 6 players. Probably remember it from last year. You have a tug of war, which is new to this year. It's a 5-on-5 tug of war above a foam pit. You have Move the Chains, which is an offensive and defensive lineman strength and speed competition. And then you have Kick Tac Toe, which I believe is pre taped, but that one is the kickers uh, competing in a giant tic tac toe competition. It's insane that we even have to talk about this. And then the festivities will conclude on Sunday with a 7-on-7 flag football game between the two conferences. And all of this coached by Eli and Peyton Manning.
Yay.
So exciting, man.
I remember like I don't remember, but like the Pro Bowls where they would wear like the actual AFC, NFC
Yep.
uniforms and then wear their team's helmet.
Yep.
That was, back in the day where like the good players actually didn't opt out.
Yeah.
That was the good old days.
Yeah, and like they like kicked the ball off. I think it was like 2 years before they stopped doing the actual Pro Bowl. They just stopped doing kickoffs.
Yeah.
Why?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
No clue.
let's just kind of go ahead and talk about like our thoughts. Like I don't I don't hate the setup. It's just the fact that they took away an actual football game, and over the years it sucked for sure. It was not competitive. Players didn't want to get hurt. Then it became, kind of an issue of no one wanted to participate in the first place. This is kind of a safe alternative, but it is dumb. I understand why they changed
Yeah.
it. It is a horrible, horrible thing. And like it's not a bad product. Like if I wasn't aware that there was an actual Pro Bowl football game that existed, I would probably watch this and be like, "Oh, this is fun." It's like the NBA All-Star, weekend,
Yeah.
and it's like the MLB All-Star weekend, except there's not an actual game that is being played at the end. Um I I, I kind of want to talk about this. So the CBA that was signed into effect, I believe 2022. Um, so each team, there's a winner and a loser, and there's like a points accumulation from all the games, and then the 7-on-7, whatever. The winning team, at least last season, each player received 88,000 if they won, which was actually more than if they participated in last year's Super Bowl, um, which is crazy.
Damn.
And if you lose the Pro Bowl, each player gets 44,000, which was up 2,000 for the losers over 2022 and 4,000 for the winners over 2022. I That's not a lot, right? Like I know there's a
No,
lot of players on the Pro Bowl roster, so I get that part.
yeah.
88,000 wouldn't change my mind if I'm, obviously Patrick Mahomes is a bad example. I guess Josh Allen. If I'm Josh Allen, 88,000 ain't going to change my mind on if I want to go there and fucking, break my ankle playing dodgeball.
Yeah. I don't know. 88K, like, it's not a lot, but if you think about it, like, you get to participate in all these fun games, and
Yeah,
let's be
yeah.
honest,
And you're
probably
going
not
to
gonna.
Orlando
Yeah.
for free. Last year it was
Yeah.
in Vegas. You go to Vegas for free. I get it.
Yeah, and if you're mega rich, you could just plan something to spend 88K on. Take your
True.
family out. Like do something
True.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know,
You could
but
probably spend 88K, get the whole family to Disneyland for like a day.
is Disneyland really that
No,
expensive?
no, I don't know. I've never been.
Oh
Okay,
man.
so I do want to talk about injury compensation as well. That's part of the CBA. So this is insane. Um, eh, so they have an example of serious injuries in the CBA, and these are the examples. So it says such as a torn ACL, loss of sight in one eye, cancer that manifests during Pro Bowl week and is diagnosed within a month, except skin cancer, or a heart attack caused by physical exertion while participating in covered events during Pro Bowl week could receive a lump sum payment of $1 million. If they tear certain ligaments or tendons in their arms or legs or suffer a fractured foot that requires surgery, the player could receive 500,000 in compensation. Players who are injured during Pro Bowl week and can't participate will still qualify for their payout based on their team's win or loss. I just want to know why they actually had to like specifically be like, if you get cancer and it shows up during the Pro Bowl, um, we do have to pay you $1 million. That's crazy.
Huh. Has that ever happened before?
I doubt it.
I just don't know where else they would
And
come
also,
up with
like,
that unless
I'm not a doctor. How do you know when it started? How do you know when it manifested?
yeah, that seems like I don't know, you kind of like I don't know, you just think of times where it could have. I don't but even then,
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't get
get
that.
it.
I
I
don't
have
know.
no idea. Um,
Damn, a milli though?
let's see anything else.
I'll twist my knee for $1 million
So
and
the idea
88K.
as well is as this collective bargaining agreement goes on, I think this one's agreed to through 2030. The Pro Bowl compensation will continue to go up. So the winning side by 2030 will be receiving 116,000, and the losing side 58,000. So over the next few years, that compensation goes up. Maybe it seems more worth it. Maybe inflation just follows that and it doesn't. But
Yeah,
I just I don't know, man. It's my problem with this format of the Pro Bowl is that it's not entertaining in to watch on TV. That's my issue with it. Like, yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
probably gonna get done recording this, eat dinner, and watch the Pro Bowl in the background of whatever I'm actually doing that I care about. Um, and I'm not going to know that really anything happened until I go on Twitter the next morning and I see every single thing that happened. Literally everything is made so that they can make a social media post about it, which
Yeah,
once again, I understand. It just doesn't feel right. Like I'm not going to sit here and watch 20 minutes of NFL players playing dodgeball to then go on my phone right after and be like, "Oh wow, that was pretty cool. Lamar Jackson got Dexter Lawrence out." I don't even know if Dexter Lawrence is a Pro Bowler this year. That was the first name that came to my mind. But like, I don't,
wow.
I don't know why anybody needs to see that. I would love to see. Oh man, Tom Brady just got lit the fuck up in the Pro Bowl. Like that's a cool moment to see on social media.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
really care who got out in dodgeball. I don't really care who hit all the targets in the precision passing event. And I'm gonna see it on social media, and I'm gonna just swipe right past it. Like I can't imagine they're getting crazy good interaction on Pro Bowl games on social media.
yeah. You know what they should do? They should bring back the like our era of quarterbacks and have them do a precision passing. Have like
I'd
Eli,
love that.
Peyton, Roethlisberger, Ryan, Brady, Rogers. Have them do it. Well, Rogers is still playing,
Philip
but
Rivers.
yeah, Philip Rivers. I think that's also another thing is a lot of players in today's game opt out, and
Yeah,
you end up having kind of like
yeah. I actually would like
mediocre-ish
to talk about
players.
that as well. I'm gonna pull up the Pro Bowl roster. When I was looking the other day, almost every single position has somebody replacing someone. Um, so like on the AFC side, um, two of the quarterbacks aren't playing. I believe it's so Patrick Mahomes because he's in the Super Bowl, and then I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson is not going to play. So Tua will be there, and then C.J. Stroud and Gardner Minshew are the two replacements. Um, you have actually not too many guys sitting out on the AFC side, at least the big names. Obviously, Travis Kelsey is going to miss it. Evan Ingram replaces him. Um, it seems like on the AFC side, a lot of this is just because players are playing in the Super Bowl. Um, yeah, the first one I'm seeing now, Khalil Mack isn't playing. So Jermaine Johnson of the New York Jets is going to replace him. Yeah, that's the only. I know I saw a lot of them on the NFC side though. I think all three quarterbacks from the NFC aren't participating. Yes, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, and Matthew Stafford are all not playing and being replaced by Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, and Geno Smith.
Okay, but at least it's not like Derek Carr, Tyler Huntley. Like those are all quarterbacks that are
Yeah,
respectable.
yeah. Last year
That's better.
it was Derek Carr, Tyler Huntley, and Trevor Lawrence. And they were supposed
Yeah.
to be replacing Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously McCaffrey's not playing, Juszczyk's not playing. But like Mike Evans isn't playing, AJ Brown's not playing. That gave Amon-Ra St. Brown and DK Metcalf a spot, which I don't mind. Let's see. Yeah, Zach Martin isn't playing. Obviously, like that, isn't a big deal, but it's like you guys didn't even make the NFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl. The least you could do is
Yeah.
go. But
Yeah,
he's actually getting
his teammates
replaced.
replacing him.
Yeah, he's getting replaced by his teammate, which is kind of cool, Tyler Smith. And then for the most part, the rest of them are just replacements because of the playoff. Other than Jalen Reeves-Maben, the special teamer for Detroit, won't be playing. Maybe he got hurt, and Nick Bellore will replace him. But yeah, it doesn't have the appeal. And there's going to be guys that literally are on that team, are starters, and maybe participate in one thing between Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah. Yep.
That's where I see the issue because, like, obviously, it was like a big deal to be a Pro Bowl starter. Like, it's more than just like something to say or like a statistic, down the road. You actually started in the game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't start everybody in 7-on-7 flag football.
Yeah. No, and I mean like that's a good point is like making a Pro Bowl, at the end of the day, when people look back at your career, when you've retired and you haven't won a Super Bowl, people are going to look at Pro Bowls. Like
Yeah.
probably the next thing they're going to look at,
Kirk
I would
Cousins,
say.
4-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah. Why did you say that?
Because that's one of those guys that it's like I think he was a 3-time Pro Bowler as of like 2 years ago before he like really started like getting good and like actually having attention for his game and not for being average. And people are like, how is this guy a 3-time Pro Bowler? Well, he replaced quarterbacks every year.
Oh, you're talking about like replacements.
Oh,
Okay.
almost
I
every
see what
time. I think every time actually he's never been the starter. He's either been a replacement or a backup.
So for whoever he replaces, does it technically still count that they made the Pro Bowl as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
So the roster just fluctuates.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't have a
infinite,
count
technically.
necessarily. Okay. Great job, NFL.
Yeah,
Way to make the Pro Bowl something to cheer about.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think that's enough.
Damn.
And anything else that you have to say about the Pro Bowl?
Just kind of looking at the rosters, it might be more entertaining this year. That's all I
Maybe.
have to say.
But
'Cause
like,
it looks like a
where
lot
is
of the
that
replacements
entertainment
are.
going to come from?
Yeah, I don't
See,
know.
that's where my issue is like, sure, I would love to watch that roster play a football game. Unfortunately, they aren't, and I'm like, I don't care about somebody's gonna catch a ball on a roller coaster at Disney, and we're supposed to care, I guess, when we watch that video aired on TV. And I guess that's going to be the best catch. Like,
Yeah.
I can't find where the entertainment is outside of like seeing NFL players that I root for do things that I wouldn't typically see them do.
Yeah.
That's the only place that I'm finding. So like, yeah, maybe it is going to be pretty entertaining to watch the guys play golf and try and get closest to the pin. Last year,
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't. Um, but if I hadn't watched it last year, then I wouldn't know that, and I'd go into it being like, yeah, it might be cool to watch him swing a golf club 5 times and then go to the next guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. it's it's interesting to say the least. I hope that it continues to evolve over the years. Because like
Yeah.
I don't hate the concept. I just think the execution is poor.
Yeah. I almost wonder like what they could do differently because I don't think adding newer, cooler events would make it better. I
No,
feel like that's kind of going
I'm gonna
backwards.
be honest. Just just give us a game.
Yeah.
Just give me a chance to at least see the whole team on the field, like all the starters on the field.
Yeah.
Even if it's like they make a 2-minute drill thing where it's like 25-yard line, first team versus first team, 2-minute drill, score a touchdown. Like that
Yeah.
would be interesting. But like I don't what the fuck is Trent Williams gonna okay, Trent Williams isn't participate. What the fuck is Chris Lindstrom gonna do at all? Is he gonna
I don't
play
know,
dodgeball?
the lineman had a lot of success in the one where you have to catch the,
Yeah, that's
most
true.
amount of
That's true.
footballs.
Yeah,
The
they
linemen
do
were
well
good
at
at
that,
that
and
one.
they do have an offensive defensive line thing. The I can't even remember what the hell it was called. Um, move the chains was the offensive and
Yeah.
defensive lineman, but it's just like, dude, come on, like I don't actually get to see the players I root for do anything. Is where my issue is.
Yeah.
They're
You
not
get to see
doing
it
what I
on
root on them to do.
Yeah, you get to see it on Wikipedia after they've retired when you wanna know how many Pro Bowls they
Yeah,
went to. But,
exactly.
hopefully it's 2024 this year. Hopefully with the CBA, maybe in like 5 or 6 years, we'll, once that money increases, we'll start to see more people. Who knows?
Maybe.
Um, Probably not.
Yeah, well, like also a big thing is like last year, all of the AFC quarterbacks, I didn't blame them for not participating because it was like Herbert would have been a replacement. He got surgery. Burrow got surgery. Josh Allen got surgery, and Patrick Mahomes is playing in the Super Bowl. There wasn't many guys after them to choose from, so it just happens. And I don't blame these guys for not wanting to do it. Look, everybody except the 2 teams in the Super Bowl, your season's over by this point. You probably don't want to go out and play football. And
Yeah.
I think it's just weird that every other sport does it in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And I understand why the NFL does it at the end because why would you just take a week out of everybody's schedule to do the Pro Bowl in like week 9?
Yeah.
And obviously, if they just played a game, people would get hurt. It'd be an issue, all that. But I just, yeah, I digress. I'm done
Yeah.
with the Pro
I'm
Bowl.
signing this bill in during spring training for NFL players. That is when they will travel, and it'll go off of the year prior. So if they made the Pro Bowl in 2023, spring training 2024 is when the Pro Bowl should be. I think they should actually maybe do it at the beginning of the season
That would be interesting.
instead. And of course, like players could get hurt then, and honestly, then it might be more crucial than ever. But just take them out of spring training. All the players that are going to be at the Pro Bowl aren't even the ones who necessarily have to
Yeah,
report to spring
yeah,
training.
like
And
what's it
on
called?
top of that,
Voluntary OTAs and stuff.
yes, and on
Yeah,
top of that, maybe it would promote the coming season just a little bit better.
maybe.
Have a little fun before you get into it. I don't know, but
Yeah, I I have no ideas. I would love to have given an idea. I don't have one. Let's go ahead and talk about baseball, a sport that actually knows how to do an all-star game, and they do it
thank
right.
God.
I gotta say, they do it right.
Dude, baseball All-Star weekend
Oh,
is
it's the best.
amazing.
It is the
I
best
love it.
because it's so simple. It's just home run derby, red carpet, red carpet, home run derby, game. It's that easy. I don't have to
Yeah.
watch the fucking uh, I don't even know, the pitcher skills competition. I don't need to watch that.
Yeah.
Um so what I do need to watch though is some of these guys hit, because this list of DHs gotta be
What a
this
kicker.
might just be the list of my 5 favorite players to watch play baseball. It is a phenomenal list. And Luke, I'm gonna let you get it started.
Okay. At number 5, I took Bryce Harper. He made his way down my list mainly because I think of the injury time that he missed. But nonetheless, still a good season. I want to say that he returned early from that injury as well, which was even more amazing. I think was he back before or after All Star Weekend or something like that.
He played quite a few games, and I think he got hurt last season.
Yeah,
So
yeah, something like
yeah,
that.
he
But
played
anyway,
126 games. So
yeah, there you go. But I mean, anyway, Bryce Harper is absolutely fantastic on Baseball Savant. Batting run value, 98th percentile. I, Basically, I've just learned to read that means that you're one of the best
yep,
offensive players in the MLB. All of his sweet spot, hard hit, barrel rate, average exit velocity, expected slugging, expected batting average, and expected WOBA are all pretty much exactly where you want him to be one of the best baseball players in the league. I think average exit velocity is his lowest there, but it's at 88th percentile. The rest are in the 90s. Almost batted 300, 401 OBP, almost 500 slugging, and a 900 OPS. Would have liked to have probably seen more home runs, but then again, he did miss some time this season. But he was absolutely fantastic, and he, coming back early from a really really bad injury, and it just seemed to only motivate him more. Honestly,
yeah,
he had a really really awesome season. He was fun to watch.
yeah. I definitely agree. Um, I went elsewhere with number 5. JD Martinez is my number 5. This is the 13th season of his career. He's 36 years old. To still be in the 99th percentile for barrel rate, the 98th percentile for hard hit rate, the 97th percentile for average exit velocity is absolutely insane. For me, he comes in at 5 because he has declined over the years, especially from a contact standpoint. From 2016 to 2019, he hit 300 every year. Every one of
Damn,
those years, he was a qualified hitter and he hit over 300. And excluding 2020, his batting average is at its lowest since 2013. So
at
obviously, I don't.
271.
Yeah, yeah, 271 is not bad at all for a DH. But I'm saying
Yeah,
from a context standpoint, he's certainly gotten a little bit worse, and he had a career high strikeout percentage at 31.1. That certainly didn't help either. Um, but he's been good. He just hasn't been great, and the decline is certainly creeping up on him. So he came in at 5. Also, I did a fun fact for all of these guys, just because I got into a baseball savant hole for all of them. So, fun fact for JD Martinez: he had a Statcast era career high. So since 2016, in mostly gone home runs, which is 30. He had 36 mostly gone home runs, which means it would be a home run in anywhere from 8 to 29 ballparks, but not all 30. And he actually had a career low in no doubter percentage, which is the percentage of home runs he hit that would be a home run in all 30 ballparks.
what the fuck?
Fun fact.
How do you do that?
Couldn't tell
Well,
you.
that's a perfect segue because at number 4, I had JD Martinez. I had him a little bit higher than Bryce,
Yeah.
just because his hard stats were better. We have more home runs at 33, more RBI at 103. Um, And yeah, just higher. Well, actually, no, not higher. Higher slugging. That was it there for JD Martinez. So yeah, I don't know. I just valued the home runs and RBI more than I valued Bryce Harper's here.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper statistically is probably a better hitter, but it's not like it's that far off between these two, especially, talking about last season. I mean, JD Martinez's baseball savant is, let's just say red for
Yep.
all you people that use baseball savant out there. He is a mostly red player. And his batting run value percentile is only 2 percentile lower than Bryce Harper's. So, like I said, here I'm just valuing the home runs RBI a little bit more than I valued Bryce Harper's. So I took JD Martinez at 4.
All right. Yeah. At 4, I have Bryce Harper. And honestly, for it being Bryce Harper's first year qualifying as a DH, it's probably nice to be in the top 5, let alone at 4 for me. It was obvious, though, that the injury was an issue this season. Nonetheless, he is still Bryce Harper, and the advanced stats certainly swayed in his favor. His ex WOBA, expected batting average, and expected slugging, all 94th percentile and above. Barrel rate in the 93rd percentile. And a stat that not many people give Bryce Harper credit for, his walk rate was in the 96th percentile. And this is actually his 9th season of his career out of 11 that he's had a 12% plus walk rate. I think this year it was somewhere in the 14s, possibly the 13s. He had a phenomenal year, and his eye at the plate is amazing, and not a lot of people talk about it. The counting numbers don't quite fall in his favor because of that injury, but 21 home runs, 72 RBIs with a hurt elbow is pretty amazing. And the elbow did not stop him from being top 3 in max exit velo with a 115.7 as his hardest hit ball. And actually, since 2017, Bryce Harper has not had an ex Wobacon. I'll explain. Expected weighted on base average on contact. He has not had an ex Wobacon outside of the top 8% of the league since 2017. This year, he was top 4% in the league. And it's pretty much just a stat that is about a player's ability to get on base when they make contact, and kind of where they're putting the ball. But my fun fact for Bryce Harper, he had an expected home runs of 25.6 in 2023, and he hit 26 home runs.
Wow.
Yep.
What a great
Almost
stat.
perfect.
Yeah, I noticed that looking at his baseball savant too. I didn't realize that he walks so much. He really
Yeah.
is never talked about for walking. But yeah, Bryce Harper's fantastic. At number 3, I am taking Osuna from the Braves. This
Yes.
man. I don't get it. I don't know whether he's a bad baseball player or a good baseball player, honestly,
I
because
watch him
there's just
162 times a year. I watch the Braves 162 times a year. I watched him play like 140 something games this year. I couldn't tell you why he's so good or that he's good. But
yeah.
then you go back and look at the stats, and they certainly tell you
Yeah, no, I mean exactly. Ozuna is nothing to be scoffed at.
no.
Adding run value, he's actually in the 90th percentile, which just he's great in the batter's box. Fantastic.
Yeah.
A 40 home run season. He was one of 120 Braves that did that this year, so maybe that's not that impressive. But 100 RBI as well. A 346 OBP is solid. He has the highest slugging on my list so far at a 558, so higher than JD and Bryce Harper, a higher OPS than both of them, and a higher batting average. Or no, not a higher batting average than Bryce Harper, but a higher
Yeah.
batting average than JD Martinez. Yeah, I mean Marcelo Zuna is fantastic, and going back to look at what I said deeper is there's just so many memes about him, and he gets in trouble a little bit too, or he has gotten
Yeah.
in trouble in the past. And we've seen like everybody knows the fielding clip where he hops on the wall, decide like he looks like a little cat, like he hops on the wall, decides it's not a good idea, and just kind of falls. But this guy it really is honestly the real deal as a designated hitter. Any team in the MLB would be lucky to have him. But my issue with Ozuna though is he just from what I have noticed with him, it seems like he's either really cold or just
Yeah,
killing people.
yeah,
There's really no in between for him.
yeah. He
So,
likes to he likes
uh,
to tease everybody for like the first month.
yeah. Yeah, but I'll let you take it over. Marcelo
Yeah.
Zuna was my number 3.
Yeah, and of course he's my number 3 as well. Like if you told me 1 month into the season that I would be putting Marcelo Zuna at third of the best DHs in the league this season, I would assume that every other DH in the league retired and Shohei had already passed him in home runs by the time he retired. Um, but yeah, look, Marcelo Zuna physically cannot throw a baseball correctly. He's simply not built to pick his arm up and throw normally. Thank God the entire league adopted the DH because this guy can hit the fuck out of the ball.
Yeah.
And he had one of the best seasons of his career. Obviously, I believe it was 2016, his last season with the Marlins, whichever year that was a ridiculous year for him. But if you exclude 2020, he had the best slugging of his career at 558, the most home runs in a season for himself with 40, the second most total bases in a season, second most RBIs, second most doubles, and the second most runs scored for him in his entire career. He was in the 96th percentile for xWOBA, 98th percentile for expected slugging, 96th percentile for barrel rate. And to close it out with a fun fact, he's never been outside the top 7% in max exit velo in the StatCast era.
Damn.
So yeah,
Wow.
Marcelo Zuna.
And on top of this, like he made a solid 3 on both of our list, and I don't know if you would agree with me, but like other than right field, and maybe even more so than right field, this is like by far the most talented list we have
Certainly.
as far as batting goes. And Marcelo Zuna's here, which
Yeah.
that just speaks a lot to him.
Yeah. First
Um,
base, probably a pretty good one as well that we did. That list was pretty
yeah,
loaded.
first base as well. Um, Yeah, number 2, this is when it kinda gets, stupid easy.
Yeah.
Yordan Alvarez, obviously. 31 home runs, 97 RBI, 407 OBP, 583 slugging, 990 OPS. He's right there close to 1,000, then 293 batting average. His batting run value was in the 98th percentile, which means there's like 1.5 players better than he is, and one of those players may have made my number 1. His expected WOBA, batting average, slugging, average exit velo, barrel rate, and hard hit rate are all in the 96th percentile or above. He just he's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. Jordan, easily one of my favorite players in the league. I wish he played for a different team.
Yeah. Me too, but I've gotten the best one before. Um, he's the second on my list as well. It's actually insane that he put up the numbers that he did in only 114 games. Him and JD played the exact same amount of games this season. And I guess you could call this a down year for Jordan Alvarez if you look at last year. I guess, an up year is third in MVP voting, a down year is 13th in MVP voting in the AL. And he's also the second best DH in the league on a down year. The most amazing part of his stat line to me is that he's a hard hitting DH that has a 13.9% walk percentage and an 18.5% K percentage. I'm pretty sure he's the only guy on my list that's under a 20% strikeout percentage. And his entire career, people have just been talking about all he can do is hit for power. He doesn't strike out, though. That's
Yeah.
the amazing part about him is he doesn't strike out. And obviously, I don't need to go down the baseball savant stats. They kind of speak for themselves. But to reiterate, 98th percentile in batting run value is absurd for a designated hitter. These guys aren't supposed to hit for contact. These guys aren't supposed to hit like, anywhere close to 300. And they're not supposed to do the things that we don't expect them. They're supposed to swing and miss. They're supposed to chase. They're supposed to whiff. They don't, or at least Jordan Alvarez doesn't. And
Yeah.
fun fact: if he played every game this past season at Great American Ballpark, he would have an expected home runs of 47, which is 10 more than he had.
Yeah, and two more crazy things that I want to add just listening to you talk and looking at Baseball Savant is 2022 was probably a better season for him
Yeah,
and he still is crazy in 2023. He's also 26 years old.
Yeah, this is like his
Bro,
third actual season in the MLB.
if he is a DH at 26 years old, he's going to play till he's 47,
Yeah,
and we're all going to look back when he retires and be like, This is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
yeah,
Jordan Alvarez is ridiculous.
yeah. Just wait till this is
Absolutely ridiculous.
statistically the worst year of his career.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I'm right. Like this guy looks like
Yeah,
he's probably going to be like Michael Jordan by the
yeah.
time he's
No,
done.
he's gonna be like Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz was essentially always in the AL for the majority of his career because he wanted to play DH. And he just
Wow.
kept hitting home runs for such a long time that eventually he just, like, over time it's like, holy shit, he hit that many home runs.
Yeah.
That's just
So
that's just what he does.
I don't know a lot about Nelson Cruz's prime, but did it look anything like this?
Uh Not from a contact point of view. He was still striking out for sure, but like he had seasons where he hit 300 and above multiple times.
Yeah.
He had a career batting average of 274, and a couple of years when he was pretty young kind of tanked that. But in a lot of the seasons where where he played a lot of games, he had a good batting average. 2010 in Texas when he was 29 years old already. He batted 318 with a 374 on base. 2019, which not long ago in Minnesota, he batted 311 in 521 plate appearances over 120 games, and he was ninth in MVP voting.
What? He would have
2020,
been like,
the COVID season, he batted 303 and was sixth in MVP voting at the age of 39.
why don't I remember that?
Like he didn't even have a
Damn.
prime. His whole career was his prime.
Yeah.
Like it literally, like he was an All Star in 2009, and he was an All Star in 2021.
That's pretty ridiculous.
And
That's
in
very
between,
ridiculous.
he finished top 10 in MVP six or five times. It's
God, baseball
crazy.
players are amazing, man.
It is crazy. But back
All
to
right,
the
you want to hop
DHs
into
that are
number one?
actually playing. Yeah, let's talk about Shohei Ohtani. This guy's unbelievable.
Yeah. I'll start out. So this was another guy that picked himself a little boo boo mid season as well,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. 20 stolen bases as a DH. Completely just throws everybody on this list up in the air,
Yeah.
just guns them down. Like no one did 20 stolen bases. And what's crazy here is, we were talking about Bryce Harper's, Bryce Young. Oh gosh, Whew, I'm getting the giggles. We were talking about Bryce Young's expected walk or no, it was walk percentage,
Yeah.
and that was amazing. But to me, I didn't realize that Shohei Ohtani was going to be valued at 88th percentile in base running,
Yeah.
which makes him even more unstoppable. But yeah, 44 home runs, 95 RBI, 20 stolen bases, like I mentioned. And just to get into the more the other kind of batting stats here, 304 batting average, 412 OBP, 654 slugging, and a 1.066 OPS. And another very red baseball savant, 100th percentile in barrel rate.
Yeah.
Which you don't see many 100th percentiles on Baseball Savant, so that's already amazing as it is. And then average exit velo and slugging are in the 99th percentile, along with expected WOBA. And his walk rate, he probably up there with Soto and Bryce Harper within 98th percentile.
Yep.
This guy can do it all, and we haven't even mentioned his pitching.
No.
It's just
Exactly.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Second time winning an MVP. He's just insane. Like he really is just an absurd player to be able to watch. Last year he missed out on the MVP because Aaron Judge broke a record that's literally not even a record anymore because the divisions do the same, or the two leagues do the same thing. So we really shouldn't have split records for leagues, whatever. I'm just trying to shit on Aaron Judge. But still, Shohei Ohtani, his second MVP season. He's only played 6 years in this league, and one of them he won Rookie of the Year. And looking at his baseball savant page as a colorblind man, I'm teaching myself what red looks like. Looking at his baseball savant, I think I could recognize it now. You're not going to find many players that are 99th percentile or higher in 4 stats. That's absurd. You don't see that ever. He had a 15.2% or 15.2 walk rate, insane. And then the 44 home runs, 95 RBIs with a bunch of shit bags and a injured Mike Trout on his team, 95 RBIs. Obviously, the 20 stolen bases is ridiculous. A 304 average, a 654 slugging that led the MLB. He led the MLB with a 1.0 or a 1066 OPS. He led the MLB with a 184 OPS plus. The guy is absurd. My fun fact of Shohei Ohtani, he also hit a ball 493 feet this season. That's insane. And
Ow.
on top of that, he also had the 200th fastest average home run trot in the league with 24.08 seconds. So one of the slowest home run trots on average in the MLB this season. Really taking his time
Man.
around the bases.
Yeah, man. If I was a pitcher, I'd tell him to get those 6'4" legs going. Shit.
Nah, I'm sure Madison Bumgarner would.
Yeah. Yeah,
Loser.
he definitely would. Definitely would. Yeah, what a list, man.
Yeah,
This one is
very easy
very
list.
talented.
I
Yeah.
have to say, a very simple list. Any honorable mentions? I got one.
No, I honestly I couldn't think of any other
Yeah.
DHs.
Like this guy wasn't even in contention for 5th, but he had a great season. I got to shout him
Alex
out.
Schwarber?
No, Brent Rooker of the Oakland Athletics.
Oh, okay.
Very underrated season. A great first half all-star. Great season for Brent Rooker. But yeah, that's about it for the DHs. So we're 20 days away from watching an actual baseball game.
Man,
how amazing is
can't
that?
wait.
That is
Cannot
exactly
wait.
what I want to hear. 3 weeks away from a damn baseball game.
It feels like it ended a week ago.
Dude, I know. And think about it. All we have left now. Next week we're doing our top 5 closers. We're not going to do middle relievers. I don't really care to get. If you want to put a middle reliever, we'll just make it relief pitchers next week.
Okay.
Top 5 relief pitchers, and then that'll also be our Super Bowl preview. And then once the Super Bowl is done, that opens the door for our top 10 starting pitchers the week after. So that one's going to be fun. And then it's baseball time. Just damn near.
Yeah.
It will be right around the corner from spring training. And it'll all be getting started. I can't wait.
Yeah. I know. It's going to be fantastic.
All right. Well, let's get into something that is over the halfway point. We totally forgot to do a table check-in at the halfway point like I had promised, but we'll deal with it later. For now, let's go ahead and talk about the Premier League. This weekend, we get back on the regular schedule. No more fucking shitty-ass weekday games like we had all week. They weren't shitty. There was some good matches. But we're back to essentially Saturday, Sunday, Monday every week. It's awesome. I love it. That's how all sports should be done except baseball. It should just be on the weekends because I want time to see them. Luke, it looks like you are in a cave right now. Just you, though. The rest of your background has light. It's just you.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Put the spotlight on him.
Yes.
All right. Well, there's actually a match going on right now. Man United's beating Wolves 2-0 in the 63rd minute. But let's talk about the games
United.
that shout out Angry Ginge.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Let's talk about some games that kind of matter. Brighton versus Crystal Palace doesn't really matter, but I want to talk about it because I want to talk about Crystal Palace's situation right now. So they sit in 14th place. They're coming off a win against Sheffield United where they played great, and the um, the performances by Michael Olise in the past couple of games they've played have been ridiculous. But the big thing is that Roy Hodgson is still their manager somehow. And the fans have certainly um, they're ready for him to go. They've called for his firing. We're getting signs at the games, everything. They're pulling out all the stops so that that ownership will fire Roy Hodgson. They sit in 14th place, which is not good. A negative 11 goal differential. Things obviously need to change. And in Crystal Palace, not much of a winning culture, but a team that would like to stay in the Prem because they've held their place for a couple of years now. And to me, Crystal Palace has always been a lower, like middle of the bottom of the table kind of team. And those kind of guys are essential. Your Fulhams, your Crystal Palace, like those kind
Yeah.
of teams that just stick around up there. Maybe they'll drop for a year, come back up. Those are the teams you need. And that used to
Yeah.
be, ideally, that was Southampton every single year.
Yeah.
They went down. And now Everton's about to go down, which Everton, every now and then they make a run at the top, but not the top, like a run at like ninth.
Yeah.
But Crystal Palace, to me, the young talent that they have year in and year out is ridiculous. You have Michael Elise, of course, right now, and you have Eberechi Eze, who is electric to watch. Um, it's just so many guys. Can't even go down the entire list of the guys that they have on that team that are just extremely entertaining to watch. But just looking over the years, they have so many players that have been entertaining. The likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka when he was at Crystal Palace. Oh my God, he was amazing. But yeah, like on that
Yannick
team,
Bolasie?
yeah, Yannick Bolasie was electric at Crystal
Yeah.
Palace. Um, and there's so many other guys. You have the American Chris Richards, who's super fun to watch. The defender um, on this team right now. You have I'm looking through this list. So many guys. Let's go. Yeah. Uh, I don't know how to say his first name. It's Eduard is his last name. I know that. He's a fun guy to watch. He scored 6 goals this season in 16 appearances. He's been great. So many great young players on this team, and it feels like Roy Hodgson's play style and his tactics are just simply outdated for this good young team.
Yeah, I like that take because honestly, in last season and this season, we've seen a lot of Premier League teams that we didn't expect have very good seasons, like Brentford, Brighton,
Yep,
Aston Villa this year, and I really thought that it could eventually be Crystal Palace's turn, but I guess I really haven't ever thought of their situation before. But they probably are getting held back by a manager because Crystal Palace for really, I would say probably 3 to 4 years have had decent players on their team,
yeah,
just not, really high Premier League finishes to show for it. Only the fact that you've consistently stayed in the Premier League. So, yeah, I kind of like that for them. They have been a very good draw to young talent from across the world that goes off and plays for some of the bigger teams. But
yeah,
maybe with this new culture of mid-table teams, I guess just trying to be more competitive. I feel like Crystal Palace should definitely be in that mix with them, but they're just not
definitely.
right now.
Yeah, and it's going to take a change. But the side that they go up against this weekend, Brighton, they are kind of that. They used to be middle of the table. Now they're trying to compete for something more, but they seem to have been slipping. They're now in their last 5. They've had 3 draws, 1 win, 1 loss. Um,
Talk about the Luton Town game. I just need you to mention.
yeah,
I
4
just,
nil to Luton Town. Oh man, that's so bad. So
yeah.
bad. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because when I saw that result the first time, I was just amazed. Nonetheless, you look at the teams, of course, Brighton's team looks the best on paper, um, but you have to take into account the form. And Crystal Palace hasn't been horrible. They've gotten more points in their last 5 than Brighton. and seem to be trying to make a little bit of a surge up the table. They passed Brentford in points with that win just the other day against Sheffield United. They genuinely have a chance. Fulham, Bournemouth, are both in striking distance, right ahead of them in 13th and 12th. They could start making a push, but something has to change. Roy Hodgson's simply not cutting it. His play style is extremely outdated for the players that he has. These great, young, fast, versatile players. Um, they need somebody in there that can actually make tactics for that kind of play, and they just don't. But they come up against a Brighton side that's certainly slipping. Bad result after
Very
bad
injured.
result. Very injured
Very
for
injured.
sure. Missing, Solly March due to come back in a few days. Same goes for Kaoru Matoma, who I think sustained an injury in the Asia Cup. Julio Enciso still out. Joel Veltman still going to miss a few more weeks, I think. And then Ansu Fati, it just says his injury is unknown. I don't know if you have any insight on that, but I guess he's not going to be in the lineup either. Look,
Well,
the
I
way
talked
that
to him yesterday.
yeah, thanks.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But like
I'm gonna look it
my
up.
my problem with how Brighton has lined up recently, it's first of all very clear they're missing the guys that left this offseason. Caicedo and McAllister essentially gave this team life when you looked at them on paper for sure. And I'm not saying that Pascal Gross isn't doing a good job in the midfield, um, or even Billy Gilmore for that matter, the young Scottish player, but it's the other guys. It's Danny Welbeck who's not performing, and fucking James Milner not performing. And then you lose out on Robert Sanchez, and you kind of get stuck um, in a bad spot at keeper with his departure. And Jason Steele is simply horrible as a goalkeeper. And
Yeah,
obviously he is because he gave up 4 goals to Luton Town, um, including a hat trick from Elijah Adebayo. But yeah, like I'm not going to fully base my prediction off of what happened this past week at Luton Town. It's certainly going to play a factor. It's not the biggest factor. I still think Brighton's the better team. I just think that Crystal Palace is actually playing for something, and I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
okay. I'm going to go with Brighton should start Adam Lallana instead of Billy Gilmore here. I would
Agreed.
like to see that happen. Um, Let me get it pulled back up here because I was looking at Adam Lallana stats. I think I'm going to take Crystal Palace 1-0 actually. I don't like this I almost said Aston Villa. I don't like this Brighton side at all. Danny Welbeck just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
João Pedro can't really make up for the fact that Danny Welbeck doesn't look good. And kind of with what we talked about earlier, they're just too injured right now and I feel like Crystal Palace are just going to outplay them 1-0.
All right. Well, then let's get into the next game. Manchester United versus West Ham. Versus West Ham. Um, it's on Sunday. Manchester United's weird. I'm getting reports of like Marcus Rashford not having the best, not being viewed very well in the locker room at the moment. Apparently, people are kind of starting to turn on him. They're saying he's being a little selfish. He has been, over the past couple months, kind of getting into this season. Very interesting turn of events. Obviously, their shit captain doesn't know how to rally the team, which we've gone on and on about how bad Bruno Fernandes is as the captain of that team. But
For sure.
nonetheless, they are getting some results. A 4-3 win today. Or sorry, I thought they just finished. Did they not just finish this match? Or are they
No,
still
it's
playing
over.
right now?
They just finished, I believe.
And it ended 4-3, or is it just messed up? Yeah, okay, it's just messed up. The Premier League's website's messed up. Very
No, I'm
confused.
seeing 4-3 as well.
Is it actually 4-3? Did we not just talk about how it was like 2-0?
I thought you said it was something. I thought. Did you say it was 2-0?
I'm pretty sure it was 2-0. It was. And it didn't
Oh,
end 2-0. You
that's
had
why
a
you
goal
had
from Kilman in the
yeah.
85th, a goal from Pedro Neto in the 90th plus 5 to tie the match at 3, and then Kobe Mainu scoring in the 90th plus 7 to get the win. Holy shit. You did have goals from Marcus
Wow.
Rashford, Rasmus Højlund, and Scott McTominay. Somehow the three key contributors in the goal scoring this season, despite the fact that Højlund hasn't done much. He had an assist and a goal in this game. Well, that certainly makes me feel better for Manchester United's
Going into this
chances in
game.
this one. That's a crazy
Yeah, for sure.
performance. Uh, but nonetheless, West Ham, it, I thought they were going to have a promising transfer window. They simply didn't. And, we're going to talk about it soon. But Saeed Ben Rama is gone. He's off to Lyon. So you lose another player there. Um, Obviously, the summer transfer window was fantastic for them. But when you look at the last five, at least in the Premier League, um, a little bit of a struggle for for West Ham. Sorry, three straight draws and not with the best teams. Obviously, a draw against Brighton is fine at 0-0, but a 2-2 draw with Sheffield, a 1-1 draw with Bournemouth, not good considering they're coming
Yeah.
off of a 2-0 win against this Manchester United team back in December and a 2-0 win over Arsenal back in December. And since 2024, they simply cannot get better than a draw. But for Manchester United, I think it's just a matter of goal scoring ability. Are the goal scorers going to come out? Because their results have been weird. You have this 4-3 win from today, which is fantastic, but a 2-2 draw with Tottenham, a 2-1 loss to Nottingham Forest, of all teams. But then you have a great goal scoring day against Aston Villa. You get that win 3-2. There is a pattern here, though. In their last five, they haven't given up less than 2 goals.
Damn.
That's a
Is that
problem.
United?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a big, big problem for any team. But for Manchester United, who, okay, look, they went out and they made a move and they got Andre Onana. Obviously, we now know that wasn't the best pickup. You spent a lot of money on this defense. You shouldn't be
Yep.
giving up 2 goals at least every game. That's a problem.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I don't necessarily think Varane's been the best.
No.
Casemiro kind of showing a little bit of a decline this year. And
Yeah.
other than that, I think it could just be play style for them. But yeah, you don't win games like that, especially if Rasmus Højlund is your striker.
Yeah.
You're
And
really gonna need all the help you can get.
exactly. But they do get the win with a lineup that really wasn't that bad today. Um, Martinez is fantastic. Lissandro Martinez is a great center back. And Garnacho
Yeah.
showed a lot of promise. I've been saying they needed to put him on the right this whole time, instead of Anthony, who got an interesting chant. I'm not going to repeat what the chant was.
Yeah.
Um, oh man, yeah, it was a bad one. Yeah, like I don't hate this setup, this 4-2-3-1 or Jesus, 4-2-3-1. By them, I like the setup. Once again, I don't think it's extremely accurate because Casemiro's never gonna just fully play left defensive mid. He likes to play central. He likes to play the
Yeah.
ball forward. Kobe Mainu's not typically gonna sit that deep and stay on the right side. So once again, things are gonna shift based on how this formation actually looks on here. But to see Marcus Rashford coming in this game with all of this shit swirling around him, go out there, score a goal, is fantastic. Obviously, to see Rasmus Højlund have a great game with a goal and an assist is fantastic because we all know that this guy just needs confidence right now
Yeah.
because the whole first half of this season was just shit on Rasmus Højlund all time.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
when it comes to this game versus West Ham, I think it's a matter of Manchester United certainly are scoring goals, but they're giving up so many. And the fact that West Ham can just go out and almost guaranteed they're going to score 2 goals is certainly concerning if you're Manchester United. And I just simply don't think, and I know they just scored 4 goals, still don't think they're a clinical team. Um, I'm going to go with West Ham, and I'm going to take them 2-1.
Okay, yeah, I like that. West Ham's last game against Bournemouth, that 1-1 draw was pretty meh.
Yeah.
They started Jared Bowen at striker. I've never
Don't like that.
maybe he's been playing. Yeah, I don't know where Antonio is, or they also have Danny Ings, right? Yeah, they have Danny Ings
Yeah.
as well. Calvin Phillips started in this game. Didn't really play that well. Finished with a 6.2 rating. Um, Yeah, I don't know. West Ham were a team that I had a lot of hope for, but I'm not really too sure anymore. I would have liked to see them have picked up, like you said, kind of a better striker in
Yeah.
January. Which I feel like for this West Ham team, they didn't need somebody. They didn't need somebody to break the bank at striker. They just needed somebody, clinical, someone who's better.
Agreed.
Maybe like a classic Olivier Giroud. I love talking about him.
He's your
And then on the
just
Manchester,
go-to striker at all times for anyone.
well, his consistency is really
Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous. And then on the Manchester United side, yeah, really a good game against Wolves. Probably a game that you wouldn't have wanted to keep so close, but like you said, you have a really good lineup here. Most of the players played well. Really, everybody except Onana, Varane, and Diogo Dallo, um, all having good games. And I like the time that they're giving Kobe Manu. Like, I
Yes.
wonder what he's gonna look like in 5 or 6 years, because he has had really bad games, but Manchester United have really trusted this guy. And he hasn't gotten benched when he plays bad, and really he hasn't played bad too often
No,
either, which
not
has
at all.
been, yeah, fantastic to see. With this game though, I'm actually going to take a 2-2 draw between United and West Ham.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's get into the final game. We'll go deep on Arsenal Liverpool, a historic matchup. The first matchup between these two teams back in 1893. I'm sure we all remember it.
Oh yeah.
In League Two, actually. Um, and the all-time record between these two teams, Liverpool, 95 wins in the matchup. Arsenal, 82 wins, and there's been 64 draws between the two. This one being played at the Emirates on Sunday. Mo Salah is going to miss.
You think so?
Yeah, well, he's not going to be there, or he's going to be there. He's hurt. He got
Oh,
hurt his hamstring in the AFCON, I believe. So he's out till mid-February. But that's really the only key injury for Liverpool. And on Arsenal's side, not very many guys hurt at the moment. The only guy that's really hurt is Thomas Partey, and then of course Urian Timber, who tore his ACL months ago. Um, but I this is good of the is healthy of lineups outside of Mo Salah that we could see for these two teams, which is a fantastic sign because it seems like every single week, especially with Arsenal, some key guy is out.
yeah. No, they have been very injured. Yeah, like at least one
Yeah.
person,
Like
but never an
it's never
injury.
all at once.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's never all at once. No, but this Arsenal team, just on paper, is just really one of the better Arsenal teams I've ever seen. I
Yeah.
love Declan Rice being there. Emil Smith Rowe getting playing time is awesome. Martin Odegaard still great. And Gabriel Jesus at striker just continues to prove himself under that system. He
Yeah.
really he flourishes well playing striker for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then it's nice to see Saka back as well. He got a goal in their last game versus Nottingham Forest and a 2-1 win, along with Jesus. Yeah, Arsenal are just super solid. There's not really much I could say about them.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing to see Emil Smith Rowe getting in the lineup and playing well, and Gabriel Jesus having a great game, getting an assist and a goal. Considering we've been following this transfer news this whole window, and the two big things that came from Arsenal were that Emil Smith Rowe needs playing time or he's going to leave, which he's getting playing time and he didn't leave because the window is closed.
Yeah.
And for Gabriel Jesus, it was they need to replace him with a more clinical striker. Shows up, scores a goal, and assists one in their last match against Nottingham Forest the other day. It's kind of amazing these guys just responding to rumors about themselves and their jobs.
I know, and now if you look at their bench, Grayson, you have Nikita, Havertz, and Jorginho coming off of
Yeah.
the bench. That is three solid players that could easily start in another league on another team
Yeah,
easily.
and I think Kai Havertz and Emil Smith Rowe are going to just kind of see each other swapping out. Emil Smith Rowe has certainly earned time at Arsenal. He just simply hasn't gotten it. The way that he played in I think he was playing for the under 21s, maybe the under 23s. I think he's
I'm not
23 years
sure.
old. Um I know he played in some youth tournament over this past summer, and he looked phenomenal. And I thought that was going to finally be the breakthrough for him into Arteta's side. It wasn't until now, um, but I still do think they're going to use Havertz. When they get the opportunity to, um, and I don't blame them for it. They spend a lot of money, try and squeeze as much as you can out of him, but yeah, I love what I've seen from this front three. Gabriel Martinelli hasn't been quite as good as he was last season. Um, really not even
That's fair.
close to as good as he was last season. But Gabriel Jesus kind of on the up and up, and Bukayo Saka. Bukayo. I keep doing that. I keep switching one letter. Bukayo Saka uh, is as good as ever. So um,
Yeah,
I love what I'm seeing from Arsenal right now. And on Liverpool's side, yeah, you're missing Mo Salah, but he's been gone for a few matches now. Playing in AFCON and hasn't killed them per se. Considering they beat Chelsea 4-1, they beat Norwich in the FA Cup 5-2. I think they're doing just fine. They're scoring goals for sure. Darwin Núñez is missing penalties, so no surprise there. But like they've got guys coming out of nowhere having insane performances. 20-year-old right back Connor Bradley from Northern Ireland shows up in this game, 2 assists and a goal at right back against Chelsea. You don't just
yeah.
find that. It doesn't just fall at your feet. That's an insane performance for him. And the other goals coming from Szoboszlai and Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz, those are the guys that have not been contributing. And they're showing it now in the absence of Mo Salah, and that's what they needed. They needed people to step up in his absence. Do I think these guys are going to play super well when Salah comes back? Maybe not, because the ball is going to float through him a whole lot more. Um, but like a guy like Darwin Núñez getting an assist is nice. Of course, he did miss the penalty, like I said, but this was a complete team performance. They were all fantastic. Honestly, the guy that kind of played the worst was Alisson, and that's really just because he gave up one goal that made him the worst on the team, on this given day. But I,
Yeah.
I think Liverpool is playing great even without Mo Salah. And they certainly have a chance of at least sneaking away with a win against Arsenal.
I would just like it to be known. I know that we are not covering Chelsea right now, but
I tried to give us
we
a week off
didn't.
from Chelsea and Newcastle
Well,
because I'm
this is just
riding way
something I
too
have
high
to
right
say.
now off that win.
Well, eh, the fact that we are going to sit there and lie over on our backs and say we don't need a striker and then play Cole Palmer out of position at striker is just the most infuriating.
Yeah, it
Like
doesn't
I
work
I
for him.
can't even I can't even describe to you how much I hate
Yeah.
that.
And I
I
guess
mean,
theoretically, he was playing it more as a false nine, which does kind of work with how he plays. The problem is there's no other goal scorers. He can play false
yeah.
nine all he wants. It just means nobody's going to score.
Yeah. Raheem Sterling and Noni Madueke are not good enough wingers to be in a false nine.
No,
And they're,
no. At
they've
least
never
not
really
goal
been in a play
scoring
style like
wise.
that. Yeah. Um, uh, Congratulations to Nkunku for scoring. That's cool. Chukwuemeka is back. He
Yeah.
subbed out Caicedo in this game. But I mean, the fact that and Cole Palmer, did he get? Yeah, he got subbed out by Cesar Casadei. I don't even know who that is. Some Italian guy on our team in the 85th minute. We really left him out there for 85 minutes.
Yeah.
in a game like that where we're just going to get behind. I mean, you have Armando Broja on the bench, but oh wait,
Not
you
anymore.
you probably was he on the bench in this game?
Yeah, he might have been, but he's not anymore because he just got loaned to Fulham. Uh,
All right, well, good
well,
for
it's
him. But
pending.
let,
It's
let me
pending
just
a
keep going.
medical, but we'll see.
Okay, just the fact that that was probably why he didn't get subbed in. Honestly,
Probably.
thinking about it now, but if we're if we're not going to take that into consideration, you do nothing for strikers in January, and then you're not confident enough to sub in the striker that you actually have
Yeah.
in a game like this where we're just getting shit on.
Yeah, and
Uh,
honestly, just putting Cuckoo up front.
yeah, I mean, he
Cole
is a good
Palmer
false
should
number.
not be up front. Cole Palmer can play behind him for sure as a cam,
Yeah,
or even put him on the right wing. He does both of them very well,
yeah.
but don't make him the reason you lose. He should
The same
all
thing
season he's
that
been the reason you're winning games.
yes. Why change him?
Yeah.
Why put him in the same system that you did with Kai Havertz? And now Kai Havertz doesn't play for us anymore. And
Yeah.
we may have even destroyed his career because he's not really looking the best at Arsenal either.
No.
Kai Havertz has never been able to obtain what he had at Leverkusen because Chelsea played him at striker so much, and I will stand by that forever.
I agree. But I
Right.
would like to talk about our final score predictions for Arsenal Liverpool.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
No,
I,
you're good, man. Um, I, look, I do think the absence of Mo Salah hurts for sure. Do I think they can win? Yes. Do I think they're going to beat this Arsenal team with the form they're on? No. Arsenal is just in a great spot. The last two wins of 5-0 against Crystal Palace. Goodness. And then the 2-1 win over Nottingham Forest. Of course, Liverpool, they've won 4 straight. I do think that in this particular game, not having Mo Salah is a big deal. That's
It
where the goal
is.
scoring opportunities come from in these big games. And I think this one might be a little too big for the replacements. So, Liverpool, you can stay at the top of the table for now, but you're going to lose this one. And yeah, Arsenal's going to win it. I'm going to go 3-1.
Yeah, I agree. Jota, if that's your replacement at winger, you're a very good soccer team because Jota's
Yeah.
amazing. But in a game with, Arsenal that are in the kind of form that they're in, you need Mo Salah. You absolutely need Mo Salah in this game. I'm going to take Arsenal 3-1 over
All right.
Liverpool.
Cool.
Yeah.
We are in agreement. Well, the rest of your matches for this weekend, you've got clicked on the wrong thing. You've got Everton Spurs, which maybe we should have talked about instead of Brighton Crystal Palace, but it's too late now. Burnley Fulham, Newcastle Luton. I swear to God, if we lose to Luton Town at St. James
Dude,
Park.
Luton Town's hot right now. Have you heard the news?
Sheffield United versus Aston Villa, who
Oh,
we just
man.
beat. So fuck Aston Villa. Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea Wolves, Man United West Ham, Arsenal Liverpool, and then on Monday you have Brentford and Man City. Luke, the windows are closed. All of them. Every single window. Maybe, yeah. Well, okay. It's kind of cold outside. You should probably have your windows closed as well. Um, let's start here. I
True.
know this has nothing to do with what actually happened at the transfer window closing. Mbappe should have a decision on his future by this coming week. I had to start it off with that because I saw the news and it's transfer news. So Mbappe starts the show every single time.
I'm fine with that.
So we should have a decision on his, future with PSG, which is likely that he's not going to have a future with PSG come next week. He'll play the rest of the season while he's under contract. Most likely will not return next year. The next thing, though, I guess we'll just start with it. Armando Broja is heading to Fulham on loan. It is pending a physical, technically, or a medical, technically. But I believe because of the agreement in place, they're good to go. But yeah, 12 minutes ago, the transfer window in England officially closed. So we'll have to see. That deal could kind of sneak through. Afterwards, but we'll have to see on that one. How are you feeling about that?
I'm Yeah, I would have liked to have not loaned him to another team in London, another
Yeah,
rival team. But honestly, I'm curious to see how he'll do. If he
agree.
was to
Yeah,
get loaned anywhere, I would want him to get loaned to a team that's in like that Fulham category.
yeah,
So I think he deserves playing time at a team like Fulham.
yeah.
I mean, I
I
thought he
agree.
deserved it at Chelsea.
True.
So I'm curious. I'm actually really curious about
Yeah.
this one.
So I'm just going to kind of keep going down the line. We'll stop on some of them that are important. But Alejo Velis has passed his Sevilla medical and will join on loan from Tottenham. Sevilla playing so bad in La Liga, already got dumped from Europe. They're bringing in a lot of loanees and
Oh
young ones
wow.
at that. You have Velis, I believe Facundo Palestri of Man United,
Oh
as
wow.
well as oh, what's his name? Mejbri, Hannibal Mejbri, I believe, from Man United as well, are all on loan to Sevilla. This one's a shocker. Jesse Lingard found a team in South Korea.
Ah.
He really went off the map here. I
Yeah.
thought he was going to go to America. He thought he was going to go to Barcelona. Um, he settles for South Korea, which I don't know a single name of a South Korean team. Obviously, the place I'm getting this information doesn't either because they just said he's heading to South Korea. So,
Wow.
yeah, Jesse Lingard is going to fall off the face of the earth like he already has, but
Sure, it's
just a
not
little
North
bit
Korea.
more. He might be playing in North Korea for the Kim Jong Un All Stars.
It's the only team over there.
Yeah, that's it.
Uh,
And he's the manager. He's a target man striker, and he's won Player of the
yeah,
Year the last 10 years.
yeah. I'm seeing. I don't even have a team name for you,
Nope,
Grayson. I
it's
just
just
looked up
South
Jesse
Korea.
Lingard. It's just
Just
South
South
Korea.
Korea. Maybe he's gonna play for the South Korean national team. I don't know. Um,
I
but
actually can't find one.
no, there's literally nothing. He just is there.
All right, last
He
chance.
might
Nope,
just be
not
on
even on
vacation.
Wikipedia yet.
He
He
might be
could be
on
on
vacation.
vacation.
But I heard he's heading to a team in South Korea. Let's go to the next one, though. This one's interesting. Lille striker Jonathan David, also Canadian striker Jonathan David, will be remaining at Lille amidst rumors of a late move to England, Italy, and Spain. A lot of connections there. He's been fantastic for Lille over the last 2 years and has not gotten the attention he deserves. He was a very good, kind of affordable striker option for a lot of teams, and he's not getting talked about. Obviously, he's not getting talked about among the likes of Mbappe, but not even among the likes of, Victor Osimhen, who, probably deserves to be a little higher, but even Ivan Toney is getting more links than Jonathan David, and I think he's just as deserving.
Jonathan David is that player I only know from FIFA because he was just a very strangely like 82 overall Canadian striker. I have never ever seen that
He's
guy play
only
soccer.
24 years old, and I have watched a
What?
couple of his matches with Lille. The guy
Wow.
is
24.
fantastic. Also, born in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh wow.
But obviously, his
He'd be a
family
nice
is from
striker on
his
USA.
family's actually Haitian and Canadian. Yeah, dude, I wish he played for the United States. That would be awesome. Uh, but we have Flair and Balogun, so I guess we'll be fine.
He's
Uh,
exciting.
yeah, everybody gets a league on a striker. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Jonathan David is staying, which I was surprised by considering how good he has been the last 2 seasons. Um, thought he'd get a move. Probably will move this summer, though. Our next
Awesome.
one, Miguel Almiron, staying at Newcastle. Al Shabaab was the Saudi Arabian team that was interested. Newcastle wanted 30 million. They wouldn't do it. Kind of surprising. They have unlimited money. But I don't know. I guess 30 million was too much for Miggy, which is
Yeah.
it's fine by me. Like we weren't going to be able to replace him in time. So I don't mind him not leaving at the end. If this would have happened at the very beginning of the transfer window, I probably would have been mad because I want him
You
out.
know, uh, as a as someone who grows up in Georgia or grew up in Georgia like you, and you knowing of Almiron before he played on Newcastle, I've always noticed that you don't really seem to like him as much as most people, I think, would
Would.
think as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a
And
fan of
I
him for
don't know
Atlanta
why.
United, but
Yeah.
the way he's played for my team, Newcastle, is just simply not as good. It's not good enough. I have higher standards for the play, and there are just in general higher standards of play in the
Yeah.
Premier League. So I think it's just kind of the adjustment between the two that makes it seem that way. Like, look, if you know, I'm trying to think of a Falcons example. I'll give a Braves example. Chris Sale was amazing for the White Sox. If he's not amazing for the Braves, I'm still gonna like the fact that he was amazing for the White Sox. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
hate him and hope he burns in hell for sucking for the Braves.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
that's where I say. Obviously, I don't want anybody to burn in hell, and I definitely don't want Miguel Almiron to. But just for hyperbole, let's talk about something else involving our home nation of America. Gio Reyna has joined Nottingham Forest on loan from Dortmund. Just a few days after extending his contract to 2026, I believe, with Dortmund.
Wow. Is he not? I thought he was getting playing time over there. Not anymore, I
Not
guess.
quite as much, especially with Jaden Sancho coming back to Dortmund. I
That
think
is
that
true.
definitely threw a wrench in his plans, but just once again, middle to lower half of the table team goes out, finds an American to play for him.
Yeah.
It just keeps happening.
I like that move though. I think he could look sick there. I really do.
Yeah, I agree, and
Gio
I'm
nice.
excited. I want Gio Reyna to be successful, despite all of the bullshit from the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then our next thing, this is crazy because I think as of last week, we said this deal was just about done. Moise Kean's move to Atletico Madrid collapsed in the final seconds after it came out that he was injured and couldn't pass the medical.
Huh. So they I wonder what that was like to
Yeah,
be there in that
I
moment.
don't know. I guess it was probably a matter of Juventus didn't want to tell him because they wanted him to go on loan. And Moise Kean probably thought he could get away with it, but those medicals, I don't know if anybody's like really looked into them pretty deeply. It's an extensive process of things that they're monitoring, and the better the team you go to, the better and crazier they're monitoring things.
So is that just to avoid like liability issues?
Yeah,
Like you
it's
gave us
just
an
like any
injured
other
player.
team. If you go to do a trade, there has to be a medical involved, unless like his well, like no matter what there is. So like you can't trade an injured player unless it's already known he's injured and exactly how long and all of that and the severity. Um, yeah, it's a good way to get your move vetoed. Um,
Hmm,
is to try and sell an injured player in any sport, really.
yeah. Well, what happened to Keane doesn't sound as bad as what happened to Hakeem Ziyech last year.
Yeah. Oh man.
So
Yeah. Hakeem Ziyech was like Carlos Correa.
yeah, pretty much.
All right. Next thing though, Roma have completed a loan deal for Angelino from Galatasaray. I'm pretty sure this is Angelino's first season at Galatasaray. Already sending him on loan to Roma. Um, Kind of surprised by the move.
Yeah, I don't get that one very much.
Yeah. This one's not really all that big of news. Kareem Benzema's staying at Al Ittihad. That was just a matter of the transfer window was closed. Let's just make sure that's clarified. He's not going
Such a
anywhere.
bummer.
Yeah.
Such a bummer.
Yeah. This one's a big deal though. Eintracht Frankfurt have agreed to a loan deal for with PSG for Hugo Ekitike. Ekitike. The
Okay.
young midfielder, which kind of weird that they sold Kolo Muani and then loaned in essentially a replacement
Yeah.
from PSG. Next move, though, Al Shabaab have signed Sevilla and former Barcelona midfielder Ivan Rakitic until I believe 2025 or through 2025. Good for him.
Yeah,
Going to get his bag.
he'll join Brozovic over there, 2 Croatians.
Yeah. I believe Brozovic is playing for Al Nassr, right?
Yeah, with,
Yeah.
speaking of Al Nassr,
Cristiano
I
Ronaldo.
actually I had this saved in my notes. So, you remember that Laporte plays there, the center back?
Yeah, I'm Merc Laporia.
Dude, he scored a 70-meter free kick from his
What
own
the
half
fuck?
today. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, just a lefty just smashed it.
That's
I'll have
insane.
to send it to you, but it was
Isn't
ridiculous.
Ronaldo
It was
out? I heard
ridiculous.
that he like missed the game against Inter Miami or something because they played a
I
preseason
didn't.
game with Inter Miami.
Oh,
Also,
that it was the preseason game that he scored that
oh
in,
okay.
actually, now that I think
Um,
about it.
Also, why does the Saudi league run on the same schedule as the MLS? That bothers me.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Um, I guess they're both retirement leagues, so it makes sense.
Yeah, might as well keep them the same.
Yeah. We'll keep moving. If you want to pull anything up, let me know. But Gabriel
He was injured
Paulista.
in that game.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
Gabriel Paulista has joined Atletico Madrid after terminating his contract with Valencia. I think just a
Mm.
few days ago. It's a pretty solid pickup. It just adds depth to this Atletico Madrid team that's been playing extremely well this year. But just can't quite crack into that top two, man. You know, those top two teams, man, Real Madrid and Girona, real hard to beat.
Yeah. Man, that Girona team.
It's
Tired of them
crazy.
being so good, man.
Yeah, powerhouses. When are
Yeah.
they
I
gonna
was
run
trying
out
to
of money?
tomorrow.
Probably.
I was I was trying to see why he terminated his contract, but I can't
I
find
think it was
anything on it.
just
That's just kind of
he wanted
weird.
to make a move, and they and nobody was paying their asking price, so I think they terminated the contract. I think was
Okay,
the
gotcha.
deal. Chelsea are finally doing what I thought they would have been doing from the jump when they did this thing. So they Todd Bowley bought Strasbourg in France. He bought that team in the summer.
Yeah.
I thought they would start loaning some players there, selling some players off there, to get them first team experience in Liga. They're finally doing it. They're sending Andre Santos on loan to Strasbourg for I believe the remainder of the season, possibly a year.
Didn't the Fafana striker that we had, wasn't he on loan with Strasbourg too?
Possibly. I can't remember.
Thought he
David
was.
Datro Fofana, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
No, he went to
Yeah.
Union Berlin, I believe.
Oh, and he was a part of that
Yeah,
amazing
and
season
then
over there.
yeah, and then you recalled him.
Yeah, but we had to take him out of that environment.
Yeah.
Now let me just look it up real fast. Sorry, I've been looking up a lot of stuff.
No, you're good.
Yeah, it was Berlin, and
Yeah.
actually now Burnley. So more
Oh, that's
transfer
right.
news.
That's right.
We
That's right.
reloaned
I
him
think
to
we talked
Burnley.
about that last week and I forgot. Um, let's keep it with Chelsea though. Conor Gallagher is going to remain at Chelsea as Tottenham are not willing to spend the 50 million pounds that Chelsea are asking for.
Good. I don't know why though.
Yeah,
He like
good young
high
player.
work
He's
rate.
very good this season. Very
Yeah,
good.
decent offensively, very aggressive. Both sides of the ball. I really don't see why anybody. Very
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
I don't get why you wouldn't want to pay 50 for him, but I'm glad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
If I were
complaining.
a Chelsea fan, I'd be happy he's staying. The next move, though, Noha Lamina has joined Wolves on loan from PSG. Once again, this is just kind of PSG has so many players to send out, they might as well loan some of them out. Next
Mm,
move, though, Stuttgart have signed Mo Dahoud on loan from Brighton. So that one's
okay.
an interesting move. Obviously, Brighton has a ton of midfield depth, so I'm not surprised it happened. It just seems like all season they made this signing for Dahoud and just didn't give him a chance.
Yeah. And Dahoud is historically, a Bundesliga player too.
Yeah,
That's where he spent the most of his
yeah,
career. So I guess him leaving to go to the Bundesliga makes sense, but the fact that Brighton signed him to begin with just never. He's a good player. I
yeah,
don't know why he wasn't able to work his way, in that lineup.
yeah. Agreed. Next move though, Enes Unal, the I believe is a center back for Getafe, is going to join Bournemouth on loan for the remainder of the season.
Solid move for
Yeah, yeah, I
Bournemouth.
like it. Mason Holgate has terminated his loan to Southampton and will join Sheffield United from Everton. I know that's a lot of words. He was on loan to Southampton. Probably realized, like, oh shit, Everton's certainly going down. So I'm going to
Yeah.
rejoin him, and we're going to be in the same league. Um, and so he's joining Sheffield United, who also might go down. Interesting to see, though, that he terminated his loan. But I do like it, trying to get more Premier League experience, so I can't blame him.
For sure.
Uh, this one we kind of already talked about. Saeed Ben Rama has joined Lyon from West Ham. But I remember seeing that report was going to happen, and then I started seeing a lot of interest from Fulham and Brentford for him. Obviously, it didn't work out for either of those teams, and he ended up going with Lyon.
Wow, ended up leaving the league entirely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then Newcastle fully completed the signing of Alfie Harrison for Man City. We kind of talked about that move last week, that it could possibly happen. Let's talk just kind of soccer news in general. Got some interesting stories. First, we'll start with Jose Mourinho showing some interest in a return to Manchester United if the opportunity presents
Whoa.
itself. He says that he wants to work under Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Okay, I mean that's exciting.
Yes, it certainly is. And if I'm Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it's really making me want to fire Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could have Mourinho or Ten Hag, who would you choose?
It's so easy. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine. Um, yeah, that one's. I'd love to see that happen. But let's.
Me too.
This next thing is absurd, and I confirmed this multiple times to make sure it was actually real. It is.
Oh god.
Thailand police have warned people not to fall for online scammers impersonating Xabi Alonso. Okay, I got more. In this scam, it's a fake verified Instagram account for Xabi Alonso, and it asks for donations of 300 baht, which is €7 or 7.85 euros, to help pay for a plane ticket to Liverpool. The message in Thai says, I am Xabi Alonso. I will be in charge of Liverpool next season, but I am short of money for my flight to Liverpool. It's crazy.
Dude, that's a whole team of people that came up with that idea.
Yeah.
That's
Also, didn't realize Liverpool was so big in Thailand.
yeah, I also struggling to figure out how Xavi Alonso couldn't come up with enough money for a flight.
Yeah, considering he's the current man. Okay, well, first of all, a legend of the sport,
Yeah.
and he currently has a job, and
Yeah.
is a job that he's doing extremely well at, better than honestly anybody in Europe can probably claim, considering they haven't lost.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
and let's kind of stick in Germany, but go down to League Two. First of all, I didn't even know this club was in League Two, and they're really struggling. Schalke. Um,
Schalke, yeah.
yeah, they're currently in 15th place in the Bundesliga 2, which is insane. Like, to think about some of the guys that have come through that team. Um, I'm trying to remember. Was Julian? Yeah, Julian Draxler, I believe, came from Schalke originally
Yeah.
before his move to
Um,
PSG. They had guys like Huntelaar, the Dutch striker, who
Huntelaar
was
is
pretty
sick.
solid. And I think the 2010 World Cup, maybe 2014. I think 2014 was Van Persie mainly. I think 2010 Huntelaar played a bit of a role then. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
tons of
before Huntelaar, they
tons of
had
players.
Raul.
Yeah, yeah,
And Raul was Real Madrid's top goal scorer before a guy named Cristiano Ronaldo came
yeah.
along. So I feel like Raul's, up there as well.
Certainly. A lot of guys have come through Schalke, and they sit in 15th in Bundesliga 2. And if they do get relegated to the third division, they won't get the license for the league because of the hundreds of millions of euros in debt they are, and they'll have to restart as an amateur club.
Oh man.
That
That's
is crazy.
that's a bummer.
Yeah.
More than a bummer.
Yeah.
But
Like, how
yeah, like I remember
insane.
like in 2014, 15, like you couldn't get away from like the Dortmund Schalke
Yeah.
derby
Yeah.
that would come on. That's a bummer.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Like, they've had we kind of went through like some of the great players that played there, but you know, they were like winning championships. In their history, they've won
Yeah.
championships, and like I think in the 2000s, like they've made the Champions League multiple times. This is a player. I knew I was thinking of somebody, couldn't quite put my finger on it. Kevin Prince Boateng played a few years there, and he
Oh
was great
yeah.
um, for them as well.
Yeah.
Oh, this useless guy, average keeper, Manuel Neuer,
Yeah.
started there, was their captain.
I forgot
Um,
about that.
yeah, a lot of guys I forgot about that played there. A lot of great players um, played there. Wow. All right. Well, let's get to the final thing I've got here for soccer, which is that Premier League clubs are delaying signing off on new contracts for current players amid the all the concerns over the FFP rules. Um, and I guess it's understood that it's some clubs they've already agreed to new deals with some players, but they're backdating the higher wages so that the finances fall under like the next year and the next everything.
Uh,
This is when it becomes a problem. When you've set up rules that are forcing teams to like do weird shit to move money around, that's when you kind of fucked it up.
yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
this
And
is
it
more than just
also
like because like in all sports people are pushing money to the end of their deferring salaries and all that stuff at the end of their contract. You shouldn't be agreeing to deals under wraps and then waiting to do these deals and waiting for them to even get out until the next year because you can't risk the money. Like that's shady as fuck.
it is. Yeah. Big time. I don't know it. And it's also this is the first kind of report that I've heard from you where it sounds like it's affecting the players as well. And I
Yeah,
mean it's at the end of the day, they're the workers, it's their money. They should be entitled to it. You know what I mean?
agreed.
And the fact that Premier League teams are having to like just kind of go out of their way to get some of this stuff working again is it's just annoying.
Yeah,
You're not making it better, you're only making it harder kind of thing.
agreed. I'm checking real quick just to see if we missed any moves that have rolled through. Nottingham Forest signed Matt Sells, keeper from Strasbourg. Um, let's see. Let's see. Oh wow. Okay, I thought this deal was already done, and I just skipped it, but I guess it fell through. Stefano Senesi, his move from Inter to Leicester, fell through, right at the deadline. That's
Bummer.
surprising. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other big ones. No, not much. Okay, well then, Luke, do you have anything
Questions
before we get
time.
into? All right, I guess you don't have anything before we get
Actually,
into
wait,
questions
wait, wait,
time.
wait, 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 wait,
All
wait.
right,
Let
all
me,
right,
let me, let me double. Yeah, just some. Here's something random that I have. This is a
yeah.
story time with Luke. Did you hear about what Mark Andrews did today?
No, I didn't.
So there was a woman who suffered a medical emergency during a flight, and they couldn't find a strong pulse. And Mark Andrews, who's a type 1 diabetic, asked
Yep.
could it be her blood sugar, and he has the testing kit. He told the personnel that was there to use it, and her heart rate stabilized, and the
Wow,
paramedics were able to treat her when the flight landed. So, shout out Mark Andrews.
that is
That's
amazing.
crazy. What a story.
That is amazing. All
Yeah.
right, let's get into questions time. We've got quite a few questions to go through, considering we have two different submissions. Of course, we have Nathan's, and then a user by the name of J Knowles En submitted a couple of questions. So we'll get to those as well. Let's start with actually, you know what? Let's start with their question because I love it. What is the top true dynasty in sport? Which team, including college teams, would you consider to be the true best
Oh,
dynasty of all time?
wow. So like a not like a just a franchise, but
No,
a
a
like a
dynasty.
period.
Yeah.
It's got to be the Bulls, right? I
I
feel
think
like
there's a
that's the
claim for the
most
Patriots.
celebrated. Yeah,
20 years
definitely.
of
But
dominance.
I just feel like the Bulls dynasty is just talked about more as a
Yeah,
dynasty rather than just the Patriots being good for our entire lives.
yeah,
But no, you're definitely right. The Patriots are up there.
yeah. I think you could also talk about some of the Celtics teams like that stretch where Bill Russell won what like 11 championships in
Yeah,
13 years in his career. That's got
yeah.
to be a dynasty.
Some of the Yankees teams, some of the Steelers teams,
Yeah.
some of the Lakers teams.
Yeah, like Bill Russell won an NBA championship in 1957 and then every single year from 1959 to 1966. And then he won one in 68 and 69.
God, that record's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
That's
That's
that's tough.
certainly an insane one. You obviously can talk, some of those like Sir Alex Ferguson, Manchester United. Um, they won so many Premier League titles.
Yeah, or the Champions League era for Real Madrid, which
Yeah.
honestly we're still kind of in,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
definitely.
Um,
I think to me, I think with American sport, it's easier to call a team a dynasty because there's one competition. Because like if we're looking at soccer, it's like okay, yeah, Manchester United dominated, England didn't really win a lot of Champions Leagues.
yeah,
Real Madrid dominated Champions League. Barcelona was still winning La Ligas
yeah,
quite a bit. So like I think it's tough because it's kind of a different conversation when you talk about a dynasty in soccer as opposed to a dynasty in NFL or MLB, whatever it may be. Um, I think I'm going to go with the Patriots. Just it's the one I saw the most, and in my eyes, because I saw it happen, it's the most dominant, and it's the best one.
I think the Michael Jordan Bulls had more of a cultural impact on the Jordan tennis shoes, not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like cultural, but
Kind of
sports in
what all
general.
came from it for sure.
Yeah,
Like from a standpoint of like influence, they're the most influential dynasty of all time,
yep,
100%. Um, I think after that you'd be talking like Alabama under Nick Saban is an
yeah,
influential dynasty just because it changed the scope of what we viewed in college athletics as success. Um, in general.
definitely.
And like I think with the Patriots, to me, like I said, it's the one I saw. It's super close between the Patriots and Alabama, um, because obviously I've witnessed both, but the Patriots personally affected me.
Yeah,
I all I did was lose one season opener to Nick Saban, in which they did injure the quarterback that I was extremely excited for, and then he was never the same, and then there was some allegations, and then he ended up at FAU. So, and now I'm pretty sure he plays in the UFL. So I guess I could be mad at Nick Saban for that, but I think I'm gonna go Patriots just because, man, 20 years of dominance is difficult.
yeah. I'm gonna keep with Chicago,
Okay.
the Bulls. Yeah, but no, the Patriots would probably be my number two.
Yeah. Well, that was a fantastic question. Let's get into
That was
Nathan's
a good one.
questions. These are pretty fun. Who has the best celebration in all of sports?
Oh man, that is a good
I
one.
feel like it
But it's
has to
very
be
easy.
soccer for sure.
Should I do the celebration that I
Please,
think is the
I
best
am
one?
inviting you to do it because it is the answer. It is.
Here we go. Ooh!
Yeah. That's the answer. It's got to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Um,
Oh man,
it doesn't get more iconic than that celebration. Obviously, there's some that are
transcends
more
sports.
creative and more fun. Like honestly, this one's kind of underrated, but the Tyreek Hill peace sign was crazy at the time,
That is very
and it
true.
really like started something. That
Yeah.
one was a big
Um.
deal. Um,
Anytime Odell danced,
Yeah, anytime
you were in
Odell
for a treat.
danced. Honestly, like if we're talking like a celebration that just caught on, the ring, pointing at the ring finger when you're gonna win the chip. Joe Burrow started that one at
Oh,
LSU.
okay.
And everybody has followed suit. Um, yeah, there's so many to choose from. Uh, you have Luis Suarez kissing the wrists and pointing in. Um,
I like that
I
one.
think Antoine Griezmann used to do a heart. Is that right?
Gareth Bale
Yeah. Oh,
did.
okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was Gareth Bale doing the heart. That was a pretty iconic one as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Trying to think. Yeah, there is a lot. I'm trying to think of like a really old one. Like, could we say Ray Lewis's like stadium
Oh,
entrance? Is that a
definitely.
celebration?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we could count that.
Wayne Rooney's knockout one.
Yes.
That's a one.
Yep.
That's a big one.
Yep. Um, I've always this is a funny one, but have you seen the clip of Jamie Vardy scoring against Crystal Palace and
Where
he
he
does the
takes out the.
bird?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the one where
No,
he takes out the flag.
not the
That one's
corner
crazy.
flag. No, no, not the corner pride flag that just exploded because of
Yeah,
Jamie Vardy. I'm talking about the he scored against Crystal Palace and their crest has a bird
yeah,
on it,
yeah.
and in front of their home fans, he just like does the like shittiest
That's funny.
bird impression, but it was
No.
you could tell it was a bird,
Oh,
and he got the job done.
that made me think. I was thinking English strikers. Peter Crouch, the robot. That's an
Oh
iconic
man,
one too.
that is a good one.
All right, well let's move on to the next question. Is the Soto shuffle really intimidating, or is he just really good at pitch recognition?
I wouldn't even say it's intimidating. It would throw me off because it would piss me off.
Yeah, which in a sense is intimidation.
I
He's
get
using it to
yeah,
get in your head. Is kind of
yeah,
the way I'd phrase it. I think he
yeah.
just has a fantastic eye. He doesn't have to do that to see if it's a ball or a strike.
Um,
Maybe he
I
wouldn't get
guess we
as many, but
yeah.
he's still going to lead the league in walks. He's still going to have a fantastic eye, whether he fucking
Yeah.
shakes his hips at you or not when you throw a ball.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the Soto Shuffle if it was only one season, but the fact he
Yeah,
is at young as he is, consistently the walk rate leader in the MLB, that's him. That's
yeah,
skill.
yeah. All right. This one's good. When we played sports, did we have any superstitions or routines?
Wow, that's a really good question because I have thought about this for myself. I never, ever had a superstition or a routine for
Yeah.
any time in my life playing soccer.
Yeah. So,
Nothing.
later into my like time playing, I wore the same pair of white Nike crew socks for every game.
Yeah.
Because I always wore long pants, so it didn't matter what color my socks were. Honestly, I have more superstitions watching sports than playing.
Okay. Yeah.
Late game for the Braves. Grabbed the BJ Upton bobblehead, shook his head a little bit. That one started 2020 playoffs, extra innings against the Reds, and Trevor Bauer, like that good team. That superstition started. Um,
What a memory there. Wow.
yeah,
What a funny thing to tell people.
yeah.
That's awesome. What a story.
I've got so many more. If I wore a shirt, so like I bought this Florida State jersey before the season started, um, and then we never lost a game while I was wearing it. I didn't wear it when we lost to Georgia,
Yeah.
so it must be the shirt. Um, that's another one. It's quite a few. Um, during the Braves run, we didn't win a game in the World Series if I worked that day. Um, quite, luckily,
Yeah.
luckily, it was more than just like did I work that day. It was if I was watching the game and I still had my shirt on from work, then we lost, which is insane to look back on. Um, that's I guess a little bit superstitious. Looking back on it.
Okay. I for watching sports, I used to always lay my terrible towel like in the middle of the living room floor and
Perfect.
just sit back in a chair for the Steelers game. I used to listen to Black and Yellow by Wiz Khalifa and Renegade by Styx, which are the two Steelers songs
Yep.
or you have to know before like every game. Like if I was going to talk on Mac or something, always would. Um, that's really the two that I can think of. I always would try to match what Steelers jersey they were wearing. So if they were away, I would wear my away.
Nice.
Stuff like
Nice.
that. Yeah, that's really it for me.
All right. What sport did you watch the most as a kid, and what sport do you watch the most now?
NFL, NFL.
Okay.
Yeah.
um.
That's but I have picked up on baseball a shit ton more as
Yeah.
I've gotten older, which has been fantastic.
Yeah. I think it depends on what we're saying as a kid. At my youngest, it was probably football. Um. Kind of a mixture of everything because like it was just whatever my dad had on, and my dad always watched the Falcons, always watched Florida State, always watched the Braves, always watched the Hawks. So like everything was on. When it came down to like when I was actually like trying to watch TV, um, which was like middle school, was like when I was like choosing what was on the TV. I was watching
Yeah.
basketball the most for sure. Middle school was my
Okay.
basketball like era of my life. Now, um, it's pretty close between football and baseball. Um, I'd say I probably yeah, I definitely watch more NFL than college just because of my schedule. Like I'm off on Sundays from work, so I obviously watch all of the NFL games.
Mhm.
Whereas I don't get that liberty on a Saturday. So I definitely watch more NFL right now. But MLB, like if we're talking hours watched, obviously hours watched. The MLB season goes all year and they play every fucking day. so,
Yeah.
so I obviously have the most hours watched of baseball. Um,
You got to watch out for the pitch clock though now.
yeah.
Maybe NFL
Yeah.
can catch up over time. Just kidding. But yeah, no, I used to probably watch more soccer when I was younger. But I've
I'm definitely
only
watching
the
the most
sport.
soccer. Or at least is the most consistent that I'm watching soccer in my life.
Yeah, but I guess to even further answer your question, Nathan, I have really, always been a sports kid growing up, but I've only ever watched soccer, MLB, and NFL. I really
Mm.
haven't ever sat down and watched anything else
I'll
before.
March comes around, I'll sit down and watch some college basketball.
Yeah,
I can sit down and watch anything. Um, like I literally don't pay attention to the NBA. NBA finals are on, I'm putting them on immediately.
yeah.
Same goes for the NHL. I don't even think I could name more than 6 players in the NHL right now. I'm watching the NHL Stanley Cup Finals cuz it's great. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Um,
I didn't know that you did that.
oh yeah. And they come on at the same time, the NBA and the NHL, and it coincidentally lines up like exactly with the most boring part of baseball season, and
June.
there's no football.
Yeah,
So it just
gotcha.
works out that way. Um, all right. So Nathan has flipped a question that he used 2 weeks ago. So now it is out of 20 tries. This one's for you, Luke. How many times could you score against me 1-on-1 with an average level goalkeeper?
Oh man, but see, my finishing lacks. I have good
Mm,
power, but I can't really shoot accurately.
yeah. You got to remember, I'm going to just go ahead and give you this hint. You're much faster than me, and you certainly have better footwork.
See, but all you got to do is get a step and an
Yeah.
arm, and
Like
then I'm
I have
just
the
like,
physicality. That's about
yeah.
it.
I would honestly say like you would definitely be. I mean, you're a unit. You know.
Yes.
I mean, like, not like in a bad way, but like it would be genuinely, even with speed, hard to get around you because you also have reach.
Yep.
Which is another thing that I don't have. So
And like
I
I'm
would give
not like
myself.
I have good balance. So like I can stay on my feet. But as soon as you get past me, I'm gone. Like you're gone.
See, but then it comes down to my finishing ability. I would say at the most I would get 14. At the least I would probably get 9 on you.
Okay, in 20 tries. Yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough.
that's what I would realistically give myself.
Okay,
I'm telling you, man, my finishing is buns,
gotcha.
especially against an average
All
keeper.
right, so this one is now you would be on the mound pitching to me. Nathan said out of 20 strikes in parentheses was going to say pitches, but I don't know how many would be hittable. um,
Yeah.
so how many home runs could I hit in a 300-foot dead center fence? Um, I'm going to be nice and say the ones that I end up swinging at, probably not what I should be swinging at.
Hmm.
And that's going to hurt me. I'm going to go with 3. I think I get 3 off of you. Um, just because you're destined to just toss a couple that just float in over the middle.
Yeah, no, and I mean it's hard here. I'll act it out with some paper towels
Yeah,
here as a bat.
please.
With me pitching, it's gonna be hard to
It's
hit a
all
home
it's all
run
exit
when you're having to
launch
like
angle.
do that.
Well, yeah, but that
Because like
wouldn't be
if
hittable, so I wouldn't swing.
well, you might.
I
Who
might,
knows?
yeah,
I
but
might have
like
some nasty
the
stuff.
thing is that like launch angle is going to be the key.
Oh
I'm going to
man.
need to like start my swing up high because I got to match that launch angle, kind of like slow pitch softball. If you've ever seen anybody hitting in slow pitch softball, they load up and they load up back and high and they swing at it high because you kind of like the ball is going to be high no matter what. So like you have
Yeah.
to go through it on like an even plane to have any chance, or you're just going to pop it up. Because if you start low, you're gonna have to adjust high and just pop it up. So I don't know. It'd be tough. I think 2 or 3 is a safe answer because I also have to take into account the fact that probably will be some that I'll barrel up and it literally won't be thrown hard enough to go over.
Yeah. Well, hitting a home run is much harder than beating a
Oh,
defender.
definitely, definitely. I feel like I
I
should
will
probably
say
get
that.
more chances to hit a home
Probably.
run. um,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't make the questions. This one's fun though. Who would win in a basketball 1v1 between us two to 15, but the basket is on 8.5 feet?
Bro, I'm getting shattered by you in basketball. I'm not gonna score a
Yo, I'm gonna
fucking
be honest.
point.
I'm gonna be honest. I can kind of shoot on a 10-foot hoop. I haven't shot
I
on an 8-foot
can't.
hoop in a while. I can kind of shoot. Like I know what I'm doing on a basketball court. That's the big thing. I'm not good at it. Like, I don't know. I can keep my dribble. I can back people down. Um, I can get a board here and there, and I can shoot. But like otherwise, I'm not that. I'm not good like in a game scenario. Is what I'm saying.
Dude, I basketball is so hard. I suck it. I'm a way better
Yeah.
baseball player than a basketball player.
Okay. And I've seen you play baseball, so
If that tells you anything.
yeah. I'm gonna assume I'd win.
Definitely, definitely. I probably wouldn't even score. I honestly wouldn't score.
Okay. Well, Luke, this was another fantastic episode of
Oh, is
Second
that
and
it?
Short. It sure is.
No
That
more
is the
questions?
final question. It was quite a few questions considering we spent some time on the dynasties for sure.
Yeah, we had some long response answers
Definitely. Luke,
on those.
I thank you, of course, for your time. And everybody out
Of
there,
course.
I thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, doing all that stuff on YouTube. And then, of course, I know you already did it, but I'm going to remind you, you need to go to the link tree. You need to go to all those links. They're also right here. You can search them up. You can join the Reddit. You could submit questions and make Luke not think we're at the end. And we won't be at the end of questions time if you
Yes.
just keep submitting them because we're going to keep reading them. Obviously, there's certain things we're not going to read. Uh, please don't do that. We do have
Yeah.
moderators, one of them being me. So don't go that far, but feel free to join the Reddit, ask us some questions, and of course, podcast listeners, you hear me in your ears with my beautiful voice sinking
Very
deeply
beautiful.
into your ear canal, processing through your brain, and it's hypnotizing. Rate 5 stars. Rate 5 stars. Rate 5 stars. Rate five
Grayson, what's going
stars.
on?
Yeah,
What's
look at
happening?
that. Yeah, Luke's losing his
Oh,
mind. Snap out of
crap.
it, man.
What the hell just happened?
Look, we appreciate you guys so much. Enjoy the Pro Bowl games. Try to enjoy them, I guess. And We'll see you guys next week. Of course, me and Colin will be here on Monday. Me and Luke will be previewing the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 58
Woo!
will be previewed next Friday. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you later. Peace.